Good afternoon. The time now is 2 p.m. and welcome to Market View Text Talk, brought to you by ERS. Today we shine the spotlight. Rather, my name is Nosile Sithole, but before we begin the program, allow me to just fill you in that today we shine the spotlight on presumptive tax. This game-changing system removes the burden of complex accounting and opens the door for smaller businesses to join the formal economy. It offers a fair, easy and affordable way to fulfill tax obligations while encouraging business growth. Today with the ERS, we'll explore how it works, why it could be the boost to your business needs. But first, let's have a look at our business news after this. In our business news this afternoon, the Honourable Minister for Information, Communication and Technology, Savannah Mazia, has called for a strong commitment to organizational strategies and a forward-thinking mindset focused on delivering impactful results. Speaking at the 6th International Safety, Health, Environment, Risk and Quality Summit held at the Royal Villa in Eswatini, Minister Mazia emphasized the importance of aligning business and organizational goals with actionable outcomes that drive real transformation.
The issue of quality, of governance, of risk management is a people issue, is a process issue. But no matter how many machines we put together, the issue of empathy has to come into play, of compassion has to come into play. How can we go into the office or wake up every morning and be the best every day? Because we can have processes and we'll have the ISO 42000, we will have all these processes. But how do we become the best every single day? Everybody here has heard His Majesty's talk about being first world. Whilst what he means certainly is a higher level of thinking, maybe better buildings, maybe better roads, better infrastructure, better healthcare, better education. The thing that I think he means is the thinking, the first world thinking, meaning do better every single day. Be better than yesterday today, and tomorrow be better than today. How do we inculcate that in this issue of SHEC? Because some of us are technology practitioners, and we will give you great systems. We'll ensure that we'll tie everything up. I know there are some of you who have a problem with things like cloud. And you say, oh no, if it's on cloud, they're gonna steal it. Let me tell you something. I don't think we understand how this issue of information is stored, right? And I'm not here to sell cloud to you or sell anything to you, but I'm here to sell you the issue of innovation and where the world is going. We need to be able to understand that as we are putting systems together, a day very soon is coming where AI will manage it.
What we see is that activism factors is something that's been around all our lives. Technology changes, medical research, all of these things affects businesses. And what we said is basically very, very simple. Understand the risk of your business. Once you understand the risks of your business, apply best practices to manage those risks. Train your people, train the organization on how to manage that process, and then create a culture of compliance within the organization. And make sure you've got contingency plans in place through business continuity. And more so, the important part is how are you in future going to embrace technology to help you collect this data that you need to actively manage your business, make great proactive decisions. These technologies that we have these days can really help you becoming, what we talked about is leading indicators instead of lagging indicators. Real-time data is really important for management to make informed decisions. And the SHEC discipline is directly in the middle of this whole environment of what's happening on the ground floor and what is the strategic direction from a boardroom level. So I really think that SHEC people have an integral part to play in eluding executive management on issues related to SHEC, and at the same point in time, how are they going to relate those performances to the integrated report?
The Ministry of Agriculture is seeking investments exceeding 9 billion emalangeni to meet the country's agricultural needs. Minister for Agriculture Honorable Mandla Chauka announced that pledges are currently coming in at the ongoing Agriculture Business and Investment Forum, with commitments now approaching 1 billion emalangeni. The minister was speaking at Happy Valley, Eswatini.
What we have got so far, as I stand here, is that people are pledging inside. And so far, we started off with the Republic of China and Taiwan, who have indicated continuation of all the projects that they have in this country, in addition of other new projects that we always discuss with the ministry in terms of support and assistance in the agricultural sector. We also had FAO, who also indicated continuation of what they call the TCPs, technical cooperation projects, and they are already doing a lot of work which aims at getting about 54 million US dollars from the GCF, which is the Global Climate Fund. We've also had pledges from Africa Chicks. We'll remember that Africa Chicks last year pledged to give us 12,000 chicks so that we can distribute to young farmers, and they've done that. We are now in the 8th month of that distribution, but they've pledged to continue in this year and this coming financial year again, for which we are very grateful. We also had a pledge from Elangeni Chicks, who have pledged that they are going to increase their production of eggs in the country, because the current situation is that only about 30% of the eggs are produced in country. The rest comes from outside, as far as Brazil and other countries. And that increases the cost of the one-day-old chicks when they are hatched to the farmer. We've also had a pledge from Ngwane Group, who are in the abattoir space in terms of chicks. So again, they are saying they are going to increase the capacity of their factories so that they are able to produce more and even export. And that's a project that's going to come with about 400 million. So we're hoping that is also going to benefit everybody in the value chain. We are currently looking for about 9 billion to be able to effectively implement our programs, but that is over an extended period. It's not all in 1 year. The investor from Turkey comes from Austria. He's Turkish. He actually spoke about an investment in terms of the artificial intelligence space.
Heavy investment in small-scale farmers, especially those operating on Swazi nation land, will play a major role in boosting the country's agriculture sector. The Minister for Finance, Honorable Nuberkenbeck, says that despite the country exporting goods worth around 10 billion emalangeni each year, mainly timber and sugar, there is still a high volume of imports. He believes small-scale farmers can make a significant contribution to increasing local production.
We need to keep in mind, even though we import 2 billion of goods, of food, of, let's say, agriculture products, we export over 10 billion emalangenis of goods from Eswatini that are produced in the more or less agriculture space. If you take the sugar, the forestry, and for instance, the pineapples, if you look at the exports of that, it's over 10 billion. So it's not, our problem is not that we're a net importer, we're a net exporter of agriculture products, but at the same time, why should we import carrots if we can produce them locally and be able to make them locally? So let us still try and close the gap. But I think what I want to touch on today was very much the imbalance. So at the moment in Eswatini, about 35% of the land is title deed land and about 65% of the land is Swazi nation land. Of the 10 billion emalangeni exports that we are doing, 90% of it is produced on the freehold title land. And so where is the opportunity, everyone in the room? So our sleeping giant, if one can call anything a giant in Eswatini, but our sleeping giant is how to increase production on Swazi Nation land. And we need to, that must be a focus, and I'm actually really, really impressed with the Ministry of Agriculture and the fact that they are actually focusing on this. We've normally taken, let's say, a blanket approach to agriculture, right? Let's just push maize in general and kind of use one system fits all approach. And what I really appreciate of the minister and his team now, they are recognizing the fact that you can't use one system fits all in Eswatini. You have to recognize the fact that you've got three, and these are still actually broad, but you've got three broad categories here. You've got the large commercial farmers. And even on Eswatini Nation land, you've got large commercial farmers. Some people have 20 hectares of land on Swazi Nation land, and that is now commercial. And one has to be able to find a way to support that commercial farmer. To have the cash flow to plant 20 hectares is brutal. And so the ministry coming forward with plans to say we are now making a certain plan on large commercial, we are a medium and small, and we're having a different strategy for each one of those is really what is going to start to unlock the potential on Swazi Nation land. And so the commercial agriculture that they're having through eWade on the large areas, I believe, is going to unlock the full potential of those commercial farmers. We have the medium-sized farmers, really ranging from 2 hectares to 5 hectares kind of thing.
And we've come to the end of our business news for now. I'll be back with ERS after this.
Eswatini TV has signed a code of conduct that is enforced by the Eswatini Communications Commission. We are committed to reporting news that is accurate, comment that is fair, and programming that does not amount to hate speech or the description of gratuitous violence or explicit sex. For any complaints of our programming, please contact us on 2411-9600 or email info@eswatinitv.co.za. You can also contact the Eswatini Communications Commission on 2406-7000 or write a letter to ECCOM on PO Box 7811 Mbabane. Email address is info@ecom.org.sz.
Welcome back to Market View Text Talk. Today we're joined by representatives from the Eswatini Revenue Service to talk about a new and simplified tax regime which is called presumptive tax. This initiative is designed to make tax compliance easier for small businesses and informal traders. Joining me in studio, Ndobeko Dlamini, Director of Marketing and Communications, and Cebolenkosi Mahlalela, Manager of Taxpayer Education. A very good afternoon to you both, ladies. Thank you so much for coming to the studio. Cebo, I'd like to start with you. What is presumptive tax? Why does it matter? And when was it introduced?
Thank you very much, Notile. Good afternoon to you and the viewers. So presumptive tax is a simplified tax regime which is aimed at small businesses as well as informal traders. It was really introduced to broaden the tax base in Eswatini, as well as to promote voluntary compliance whilst reducing the cost of compliance. So presumptive tax was introduced on the 1st of July 2024 in accordance to the 2023 Income Tax Order amendments. And it's mainly meant for these clients that I've highlighted, which in most instances you find that they struggle or they do not have the capacity to maintain detailed financial records.
Okay.
Yes.
And Ndobeko, who qualifies for presumptive tax?
Thanks, Notsile. Happy to be here. We're always very happy to be with the Market View show. When we look at individuals or businesses who qualify for presumptive tax, we're looking at individuals or businesses who make an annual turnover of between 0 to 500,000. This could include the likes of your informal traders, your small business owners, as well as your spaza shop owners. Those are the clients or the audience that we are talking to. Presumptive tax, however, does exclude professionals such as your lawyers, your consultants, your accountants, and anyone who's made an investment income, that those segments are excluded. But I think maybe something to add about the why of presumptive tax is we as the ERS are wanting to be able to make sure that we bring ourselves closer to you. At the early stages of your business, we'd like to be able to know and hence the introduction of presumptive tax.
Okay. Cebo, can you please explain or expand on how the tax is calculated under this regime? What are the applicable tax rates for the different informal traders and other SME or small businesses?
Okay, thank you very much, Natalie, for the question. So for presumptive tax, instead of basing tax on profit, when it comes to presumptive tax, we calculate the tax based on gross turnover. So it means you will not deduct your expenses, but it will be based on your gross turnover. So the applicable rates for presumptive tax will be, if you, let's say, for instance, during the year of assessment, you've made 0 emalangeni to 50,000 emalangeni. The tax there will be at 0%. And if you have made anything above 50,000 emalangeni, but just below 500,000, the tax will be at 1.75%.
Right. Ndebeko, what are the benefits of presumptive tax for small businesses? You know, every time we think tax, people think, hey, these guys are about to take away the little that I've made. But now you're encouraging that people comply. Presumptive tax, what are the benefits?
Thank you, Notile. There are several benefits for a presumptive taxpayer. I think the first one is the opportunity to access simplified compliance. As a presumptive taxpayer, you're not expected to have convoluted and complicated accounting systems. We want just simple bookkeeping. That's what we're looking at. Gabolongas has also highlighted the tax rates that presumptive taxpayers access, so more affordable tax rates, because again, we understand that you are a small business, you are still, growing your business. And then I think the most important one is presumptive tax encourages formalization. As a country, we are alive to the fact that businesses want to work with local service providers. We are awake to the fact that there is this essence or this push of wanting to work with your local SMEs. But those same big businesses want to work with compliant taxpayers. So registering for presumptive tax allows you as a small business owner to be able to access those wider markets. So we definitely do encourage, if you're a small business owner, register. Cebo will highlight to some of the ways in which that these organizations can register for presumptive tax, but we encourage it. There's a variety of benefits that they can access.
Right, so if I hear you correctly, you're saying it addresses the challenge of tax evasion in the informal sector. That's correct?
It addresses the challenge, but also I think Cebo highlighted it, that it broadens the tax base. Because what we would find and feedback that we've received is, if I'm a small business owner, I can't afford the tax rate that is paid by maybe my bigger counterparts in the market, but I do want to comply. I do want to make sure that nami ERS uyangati soma business, and this is where I'm based, this is what I do, but in my tax rates. So we've now created a platform or a regime that caters for that specific audience.
But also, I also want the certification that says I am tax compliant.
Exactly, right. Exactly. Naming a full tax compliance certificate, and here's an opportunity to access it.
Okay, so Ngozi, how can one register for presumptive tax? What are the applicable platforms there?
Okay, so for one to register for presumptive tax, we've really made it easy and simple for our clients. We are available in all our service centers in all the big towns of the country. So you can just visit our service centers. We'll guide you also on the required documentation, what you will need for you to be registered for presumptive tax. And it's actually simple documents as well. So that's one way. And another way, you can visit our website, Eswatini Revenue Service. That is where you can also access the platform to register for presumptive tax. We've also recently introduced a mobile way, a USSD, where you can just type *4050# and you can just follow the steps and you'll be registered, and we'll guide you on what next and what is needed from you.
Please repeat that code again. You said star?
It's *4050#.
All right. Now, for somebody that wants to register, you said the options are they could either visit you or in your physical offices, yes, your service centers, or they can go on the website.
Yes.
Now, before I go on the website, what documents would I probably need to have on hand just so I can be able to register?
Okay, I'll just make an example. Your ID should be there. Since we are talking to small businesses and mostly informal traders, you'll find that they only maybe do Momo. They don't have a bank account. So we do accept a Momo statement to just give an account of your financials and how you actually do your trading. Really, it will just be about that. And we'll also need to know where you are in terms of your physical location, so you can provide your proof of residence.
All right.
Yeah.
Ndobego, my last one, perhaps this is you wrapping up the conversation for us. What happens if somebody doesn't register or comply with the presumptive tax obligations?
In the tax space, non-compliance normally attracts penalties. That's just the rule of thumb of it. However, I think as ERS has changed from being an authority to a service, our focus as well has shifted in terms of how we deal with our clients. We, instead of rushing to be punitive in our actions or punish our clients, we want to educate, we want to support, we want to help. So yes, the issues of non-compliance, but we also want to be able to identify what are the issues or what are the challenges that you are facing. And we have a number of programs that are available to support clients. We have Sonzela's Kulumenje that speaks to clients to say, if you are facing any challenges with compliance, come to us and let's have a chat, let's have a conversation, let's see how best we can help you. And I think one of the key things of e-presumptive tax is trying to showcase that we want to ensure that now a small business owner, there is a tax regime that caters specifically for you. So we are really all about support and encouraging and supporting our clients.
All about support and encouraging clients to actually pay their dues, to be compliant when it comes to tax obligations. That was Ndobego Dlamini and Cebo Lenkosi Matlalela from the ERS. Today we were discussing all things presumptive tax. This is Market View, brought to you by ERS Tax Talk. First, we'll go for a break. When we come back, Sanele Sibia joins us for our market analysis. Stay tuned.
Eswatini TV has signed a code of conduct that is enforced by the Eswatini Communications Commission. We are committed to reporting news that is accurate, comment that is fair, and programming that does not amount to hate speech or the description of gratuitous violence or explicit sex. For any complaints of our programming, please contact us on 2411-9600 or email info@eswatinitv.co.za. You can also contact the Eswatini Communications Commission on 2406-7000 or write a letter to ECCOM on PO Box 7811 Mbabane. Email address is info@ecom.org.sz.
When you choose your adventures, you do so with an open heart and a desire for the unexpected. You embark on journeys to discover new worlds full of wonder. You choose a path to awaken your senses, a world to make you look up and realize just how inspiring this life can be. Arrive and awaken your heart. Explore life in ways only thought possible in your dreams. Discover just how far you'll go to expand your understanding of life's greatest mysteries. There's just one place on this planet with so much to offer. Now is the time for you to have the royal experience.
All right, welcome back. And now for our market analysis segment with in-house economist Sanele Sibia, who joins us via video link. A very good afternoon to you, Sibia. let's kick off with U.S. inflation, holding steady at 2.7% and a slight uptake in core reflection, as indicated in the CPI data that was released just the other day, with investors pricing in a rate cut in September. What's your reading on this? How much has it moved in markets? Just give us the summary.
Thank you, Notile. So we're seeing that the fact that inflation is coming tamer than expected somehow propels the hopes for a rate cut in September, and we do now expect that. So that's what markets are now pricing in. We're seeing that record close in all the indices there. That's the Nasdaq, Dow Jones Industrial, and the S&P 500.
Sanele, are you on the line?
Yes.
I would like for you also to give us just a brief summary in the interest of time. We are going to see President Trump meeting Putin tomorrow for discussions on, ending the war in Ukraine. For him, it's a listening session. But exactly what market elements are we likely to see react more or affected by whichever way the Trump and Putin meeting goes tomorrow?
So what we'll actually see there happening is we expect those defense stocks within the Asia region that were driving growth, within the Eurozone that were driving growth in stocks the past couple of months to somehow renege a bit, and depending on that outcome. But we're seeing European stocks rebounding following the fact that President Trump has actually met with the president, with the president of Ukraine, with President Zelensky, before going to meet the Russians. So we do see President Trump trying to balance all of this, and we're seeing Europe coming back up again. But there are a bit of concerns, more especially within the overall Eurozone, that Euro region. And then in terms of when you move into, into Asia, again, we're seeing a bit of losses, which is just basically an adjustment, markets going back to those equilibriums. But what is interesting is the markets in Asia are back on those all-time highs. But we're waiting to see how that Putin-Trump type of meeting plays out. And, as we get more clarity in terms of those tariffs around the chip stocks and, around the gold and the minerals, we do expect Asia to continue staying on that upward surge. And then the JSS also index, again, on a very high, but just rebalancing and correcting for those losses while we're waiting to see and get more clarity again in terms of what happens to AGOA and what is going to happen in terms of those minerals and those rare earth minerals. And what we're seeing, interestingly now, is the way President Trump is handling the Russia-Ukraine conflict has somehow sent gold back to the 3,400 mark. But now that the tensions are cooling down, we do expect gold to come back below that 3,400 mark. And Brent crude staying steady at $65 per barrel. Again, on those on that signal of poor expected demand. But we're also seeing overall weakness in the Lilangeni across the euro, the dollar, and the Japanese yen. And again, that's given by that downward revision in the price of precious minerals. Thank you, Lou. Thank you, Natsuli.
Thank you very much, Sanele. That was Sanele Sibia, just showing insights on the markets this afternoon. For now, we've come to the end of the show for today. This has been Market View, brought to you by ERS in partnership with Eswatini TV. From myself and the team, until the next edition, thank you for staying with us. Take care.